Morgan turned away.
Tout pour a cup of.
When he came back,
The dirt Beneatis feet
was already wet and unstable. At first, neither of them sensed the danger. Delilah reached for the radio, and the ground suddenly gave way. Morgan rushed to save her, struggling through the slick mud. But no matter how far he reached, he was just inches too late. That was when Morgan finally knew something was terribly wrong. He quickly grabbed the radio on his belt and called for backup, but the invading water people didn't stop them. Their objective had already been achieved, since humans had killed their kind first. Taking 2 human lives in return seemed perfectly fair to them. The alarm blared throughout the base. Soldiers geared up in seconds and rushed to the room where it happened, but what they found was unsettling. Aside from the missing bodies and soldiers, the room was eerily silent, with no obvious signs of anything wrong. Buckley noticed a strange bulb in the corner of the wall. Out of curiosity, he gave it a pull, only to drag out a perfectly intact chair. The general's expression instantly changed. He picked up the radio and called out the 2 soldiers' names. Static crackled through the channel, but the sound wasn't coming from the walls. It was coming from beneath their feet. The general lay flat on the ground and called their names again. At that moment, his worst suspicion was finally confirmed.
What's that?
According to biologists, the water people may have existed even before human. Back then, there was no land at all. The entire planet was covered by ocean. Later, the water people fell into hibernation. Land slowly emerged. Humans evolved from apes and eventually became Earth's dominant species. Now that the water people have awakened, a struggle for living space with humanity seems inevitable. No one wants a war to break out, so resolving this peacefully would be the best outcome. This operation involved more than just the military. A joint intelligence task unit was also brought in. The unit was established under the Doctor and was originally meant to handle extraterrestrial civilization. While the water people aren't technically aliens, this incident is essentially no different from an alien invasion. Buckley was originally just a clerk in the transportation department, but because of a mix-up in HR, he was mistaken for a field agent from the Joint Task Unit. Now that he's deeply involved, there's no turning back. In the general's eyes, this accidental nobody might just turn out to be their secret weapon.
I suspect is how history is made. One great big chain of mistakes.
Buckley could only feel helpless about it. A year earlier, he had personally witnessed the Doctor's regeneration, and that experience taught him how many secrets this world truly holds. If he had a choice, he'd much rather live his life as an ordinary person. But before the conversation could continue, the alarm outside the base sounded again. Technicians had discovered an unknown life form near the shoreline. If their guess was right, it was most likely a water people envoy. Knowing they could turn solid ground into a swamp with ease, the general couldn't help but feel tense. But the fact that they chose to appear instead of launching an attack meant there was still room for negotiation. The tech team quickly got into position, preparing to translate the general's English into the water people's language. However, the system wasn't fully reliable, so the assistant quietly reminded the general to get straight to the point and not ramble on like he usually did.